Hey guys, Kiri today, and today will be a special video coming from the bottom of my heart about Dragon Ball. Well, in a very certain aspect of Dragon Ball, and that would be why I love Ultra Instinct. To me, I think it's one of the greatest things Dragon Ball has ever introduced in the entirety of the franchise. And I started with the original Dragon Ball, and I went up to Z through Super. I mean, stopped watching Z because of how boring it was to me. I mean, I did watch Z Kai eventually. It's just the original dub I don't like. I think Z overall is a much better quality product than Super. It's just the thing. I don't know. I just found it more entertaining, and it bore me to death like the original Z dub did. The dub was the filler and everything, not Z itself, because that's a better quality story. I mean, I read the manga and I like the manga a lot more than the anime. But I'm not saying Super's better than Z. It's just I'm saying I found the original Z dub to be worse than Super. And well, I'm just gonna go over how I feel about Ultra Instinct and why I love it. So I guess going over the important thing is, to me, Ultra Instinct is just, I guess, my way of saying it's my Super Saiyan. It's my Super Saiyan 2 because the older generation, y'all got to come home from school, sit down and watch TV like, here. It's like, y'all watch TV, you got to see Goku go Super Saiyan for the first time and go on and go Super Saiyan 2 for the first time. Those are big moments that newer fans like myself cannot appreciate because we already know the forms are there. Different times have changed. We already know they're all there. We already know Super Saiyan, so it doesn't impact us as much as y'all did. That's when, Ultra Instinct comes in. I guess it's better latest groundwork. So it was in fall, about autumn, or actually November. I was sitting upstairs in the bedroom while Tango was watching Super on my Chromebook. Uh, and so I was sitting there watching it. And then, I was just going through Turn of Power. It was, of course, episode 109. And Goku just charged up Spirit Bomb with Super Saiyan Blue. Blue Kaioken. Jiren didn't budge. It's like, good God, how strong is this man? Or, yeah, how strong is he? Like, he just wouldn't flinch. And it's like, what's he supposed to do now? Like, this guy's not going down. But also, I'm like, well, he's also a superhero, so I guess the Spirit Bomb wouldn't work on him anyways. And then, as the two forces collided, it made the Spirit Bomb just implode because you had two different forces acted upon it. And Goku was caught in an explosion. And then just, as many people saw, then there was just nothing. It's just sitting there like, okay, now what? Suddenly the ground starts rumbling, and it's like, okay, what's happening now? And everyone's like freaking out. It's like, okay, what's going on? And then, of course, the one line from Beerus, here it comes. And psh, the big beam comes up. It's like, holy shit, what? Like, huh? What the fuck's going on? It's like, huh? Hey, yo, what? And it was just like suddenly this thing, he just stands there menacingly, just like looking at Jiren menacing, like he did not care. It's like, this is new. I like what I'm seeing, and he just rushes in. He's dodging everything. He's grabbing everything. He's moving so fast, and he's roaring. It was like, holy shit, so cool. I went, and then next day at school, watched the episode. I was like freaking out how cool it was, and then I go over to school next day. I'm like, hey, y'all, did y'all see that episode? Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, wait, y'all didn't watch? It's like, no. Well, they watched it later, but in my case, it's like I want to see more of it. I want to see more of it. So I rewatched the episode again. It was just exciting. I'm like, makes you wonder what else is going on. So, actually, I didn't rewatch it because it was in correct detail. I looked on YouTube first. This is when I was introduced to my favorite form, and it's like, well, EY technically gets glasses. Gotta get the glasses. Well, EY technically isn't a transformation. Shut up. Yes, it is. It is technically both for Goku. As in the manga, he uses Ultra Instinct technique, which is God form, and Super Saiyan Blue, but then Whis says he treats it as a transformation, which he isn't supposed to. So yes, it is technically both. For mortal beings, Ultra Instinct is both a transformation and a technique. Okay. And it's like, okay, I want to see more of this. And then I typed in Ultra Instinct. I didn't know the name of it first. I just, I think it was, someone told me it was like called Ultra Instinct. I heard it somewhere. It's like, oh yeah, it was MF. It said Ultra Instinct or something. Like, I'll look it up. And then, well, I saw something. Like, and it was a YouTube video that said Mastered Ultra Instinct. Like, Mastered? The fuck? Mastered? What do you mean the stuff I just watched wasn't done? How much cooler can it? And yes, in my opinion, it just got so much better. Just seeing this monstrosity of a powerhouse absolutely wreck Jiren. It's probably my favorite time. It was some of the greatest animation in Dragon Ball history. It is just, I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. To me, because this is my Super Saiyan. I was freaking out when I saw this. I'm like, this is amazing. I want this. I want this in the games. I want this in anything I can get hold of. I want it now. I even let somebody paint my hair silver so I could just be pretend just for a day. It was just like, yeah, cringe and corny and nerd. I get it, but it's just like for Super Saiyan. Now, who needs Super Saiyan? Super Saiyan 3, never heard of it. Just give me this. Give me this in the games. This is what I want. I want this. And over time we've gotten it in like Legends. Of course, I'm more into Dokkan rather than Legends, but when I saw it was even like Goku, I just hurried up and installed the game. Like, you gotta farm up everything again. I ain't missing this. No, sir. I love this. I just love this form. I love everything about it. Because my favorite thing, because I think this is the last video I said I like OG Dragon Ball more. And I do. Because if it was more martial arts based, and I used to take karate, so it's like, oh hey, look, I kind of recognize some of the stuff I was taught, a little bit of martial arts. And I love that. And sort of in Z and Super and GT, they kind of left the more at the end of Z and the Super and GT, left the martial arts out. For the majority of it. Till he showed up, and the way he was kicking Jiren and kicking and dodging, it's like it was martial arts. It's like it's supposed to be like as Team Four Star described, it's supposed to be like a essential way of kind of like what is true all true fighters and like martial artists straight for. It's just kind of like perfected all your calmness and tranquility. And it's like, well, Goku learned that in the original drama. Well, he never kept it because of Super Saiyan, because Super Saiyan was all about rage and emotions. And to me, after a while, it was just like, oh, Scream power up, Scream power, Super Saiyan 1, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3. Super Saiyan God wasn't at that until it was Scream and Power Up. Scream and Power Up was also for Blue. This is not Scream and Power Up, which makes me like it more because it's more individualized. And like I said, it's just him roaring and punching. It's like it was just so cool when I first watched it. I still watch it from time to time, just relive the memory of just seeing it for the first time. And I'm glad it was different, and it kind of just builds up everything that was set up before, because so he learned to be calm and react fast and just run instincts in the original Dragon Ball, but it wasn't really kept in Z because of Super Saiyan. Like, it was more rage and emotions rather than just being calm and tranquil and balanced. This recaptures that and puts it into form. He has to go back to the original lessons of Dragon Ball in order to obtain this greater power from within, and I loved it because it harkens back to my favorite era of Dragon Ball. And so, just again, I think it is the best because it finally stops and say, "Hey, why don't we go back?" I know Toriyama and them don't write like that. I know they had vague notes, but in a thematical sense, it works because it goes back to that original series that started. Without Dragon Ball, you wouldn't have Z, Super, GT, the games, none of it. And yet people disrespect Dragon Ball. It's like, you can't disrespect the OG. You wouldn't have Z or, Z or anything. I think OG's honestly still the best for me, personally. I enjoyed it more. Of course, you get rid of all the pedo stuff, and I think it's the best. If you can still keep the Roshi stuff, I argue it's probably the worst because of that, and it's just different time era. But back to Ultra Instinct, and so when I see this in the games and stuff, I just love it, and it's just. But I did have glaring issues, and it were fixed eventually. But I must go over the glaring issues of how he achieved it in the Tournament of Power. It's different in the anime and manga. Anime is like Roshi, and manga is like Roshi tells him to remember his lessons from OG Dragon Ball, and then that's how he kind of gets it. Compared to the anime, it's where the Spirit Bomb pushes back. Now, at first, I said, well, that sucked because they said this in Z. Well, actually, to be correct, in the manga, they never say it can't hurt you. Actually, you think the exact line is push it away. Your pure heart, so you can push it away. It never said Goku never said it could not hurt Goemon. If anything, I think that's why he was stressing to him in the original manga why he needs to push away because it can hurt him. And if he doesn't push it away, he's going to get hurt and they're going to all die. So, to do it again, which is a more reason why I don't like the original anime, the original dub anime, is because it changes the key moments in the manga. For some reason, they just did that, and now people have this perspective that's technically just a false narrative. They never said the Spirit Bomb couldn't hurt, unless it's a translation error. I could be just a translation error in the manga, because I read the translated manga, not the original Japanese. Because I can't read Japanese, and I don't want to go through the process of translating it. So it could be different translated, but there is a sheer difference between it. And so I'm going to go with that Goku never said it could hurt him. So now it makes sense that the Spirit Bomb could do it, because you go by the original source material, it could hurt him. Which, again, it's like freaking out. It's like, Vegeta, you gotta move. You gotta go, Vegeta, because this can hurt you. I was like, well, yeah, Vegeta's not pure heart, but then it's like, again, it can hurt anyone. It can hurt any, because it's energy from life itself. And life's not pure. It's not based on good and evil. It's more neutrality. And I think it should make sense that anyone can get hurt by it, but those who are more positive can push it back than those who are more negative. And so, so that way it makes more sense now. And plus, as I said, it was like two forces were colliding, so it just imploded from both forces, like smashing into each other. It's like a train, like two trains hitting each other. They're going to crash. You put something into it, and it's going to shatter. So it makes sense why the Spirit Bomb exploded, because there was just like Goku was pushing back, Jiren was pushing back. You create this wall, and it bam, implodes them. So it makes sense how he got it, more so in the anime now, going reading the original manga. But if I still had to pick which one I like more, I say they're both equal. Because, I mean, Roshi's like reminding Goku. I guess I like that more because Roshi's Goku's original teacher. So for him to kind of remind him everything, it's like, hey, remember all this, because in a sense you kind of forgot about it, because again, he's so used to relying on his emotions and rage to help him in battle, that him having to remember you can be calm and tranquil in battle too is technically the real martial artist way. Which just, I think it was okay, but that got fixed in my. I don't think I got a picture of it. But here's a picture of Tsurugi, but we'll talk about that later. But in the picture of the manga, the moral arc fixes it. It basically fixes my issue, sort of, and Goku trains with Marius to get UI. And I think him actually training to get it just fixes it. It just, like, removes it. Like, now I just say it's a perfect form, because we actually have him trained to properly achieve the form now. He had to go through this process of getting. I love the moral arc. I'll do a video on the moral arc and the granola arc. I like them both. They do have their flaws, but I think one is really good, and I really think sure Moro should have been the final boss of Dragon Ball. He definitely had that quality of him. But if they would just rewrote them a little bit, but just going back to the main topic, and so I just grew up just loving this form, Fighters and Xenoverse 2, but the games always kind of never got it right, because the thing is, though, UI is more than just dodge. Its instinct and its secret power is a rapid evolution, because you pay attention in things like the anime and the manga, specifically the Moral Arc and the Tournament of Power. Goku, every time he hits an UI sign, he's charging up, powering up every 5 milliseconds. Hear him powering up. He keeps powering up. It's constantly growing his power. It's rapidly evolving his body, so he's getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger per every second in the form. That's why here he was actually starting to hurt Gas, is because it was rapidly evolving his body. I think also the fight with Gas also showed some ability too, but with Moro doesn't have stamina issues. Like, he gets stamina and he just eats up like M&Ms. Like, it's nothing to him. He gets it for free. He just breathes and he just gets a bunch of energy for free. It's literally he had to get a bigger body because it was so much power for him that he couldn't contain it. And then at first he could, but then it started to grow and evolve, and then that's when it was too much for him. And so what I like is because it's more than just dodge. And then in the games, it's like, oh, you get hit, you take so much damage, but that doesn't happen. He's a tanky boy. I forgot to get the picture. Unprofessionalism. But in Moro, he one-shots Blue Goku as a single attack, and in MUI Goku, he punches him and breaks his arm punching MUI Goku. It's like, yeah, he's more than just dodge. He's a tank. He's tanky, he's durable, he's strong. Like, he's just like perfect form, too. I love it. But I think the biggest problem outside of the I would say almost perfect, because there's one more detail. I'm just getting so hyped up I forgot to talk about it. Is it's never really built up outside of Tournament Power besides one line from Whis. It's like, oh, you should just rely more on instinct, and it was just kind of it. They never talk about it after that, which I think is a big flaw of the form. Is, yes, you can say Super Saiyan. To me, to be fair, Super Saiyan's also the same way, because you never heard of a Super Saiyan until a Namek arc, and then Ultra Instinct same way. You never heard of Ultra Instinct until Turn of Power, which is fair, because it is fair, because Super Saiyan, like, they didn't talk about original Dragon Ball. It's never talked about Insane Saga. It's only mentioned in about when Goku first shows up on Namek. It's the first time it's mentioned, and that's all we have. It's like a warrior of 1,000 years of legend, and then just turns into a complete joke at some point in the series. Which, I mean, I like Super Saiyan. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's a little overrated when I sit down and think about it narratively, because it's built to be this form of, oh, a warrior of 1,000 years. Every 1,000 years a Super Saiyan arrives and unstoppable. Next arc gets bullied into oblivion by everybody. And I just think that's kind of like, why would you build up this? Which, again, I think it was supposed to stop by Namek arc, because it's like, again, the way they set up this form to be this unstoppable form of power makes sense, and then next arc gets bullied into oblivion. So that's why I don't care for Super Saiyan too much, because it's like, oh, here's the build up for it. I already knew it existed. Here's the build up. Here's context for it. It's good. It's just the next arc, and then the arc after that just bullies it more. Poor Super Saiyan. But Ultra Instinct has not had that. No. It's like, well, if this is supposed to be Goku's best form, right? Oh, heaven forbid there's people stronger than Goku. Oh no, it's like the whole point of original Dragon Ball was to teach Goku that there's always going to be somebody stronger. Hello? It's Dragon Ball. It's like, come on, it's always going to be stronger. It's anime. There's always going to be a stronger opponent for next arc. So that way they can have a new story to tell, which is now Black Frieza. He just shows up, he just one-shots them, But, and then, now, let's go over to manga, Granola arc, cover a new, not really a new form, rather, just kind of an evolved UI sign, is True UI. I wouldn't say it's stronger than MUI because I said the rapid evolution. Because remember, before he got this, he was in MUI, so he was just getting stronger and stronger. So now at that point, he could fight gas, but it's not necessarily stronger. It's just again, it's just its secret ability of rapid evolution. So it's more like UI Sign in a sense to where it's not perfected. He just can use his emotions with it. But he can still use MUI, as we've seen in the end. He uses Sono form at the end to grab gas and just yeet him up in the atmosphere for a Granola to take a shot. Um, which is good. I definitely do like the ending. Now, totally not Mark. Did a really good review of it. He pointed out some more of the narrative greatness of it, and I again just shows why I really just love Ultra Instinct. But I'm just gonna keep this with my sign. And now I know a lot of people like this more than this, and I'm the other way around. I like this more than this. This is cool. This is great. But this is fantastic. I love this. Like every time I see the white hair, I see black hair, I'm like, oh, that's cool. I want that. And then I see the white hair, I'm just like dancing all over the place like this guy. I'm just dancing everywhere. Like I'm freaking out. Like that's just what I want. As soon as he was revealed in fires, just like I had to start getting like, I can get back on fighters. The only character I'm so good at is him. Which I don't know if it's a good or bad thing. It's just how much I love this form. Again, it's my Super Saiyan, my Super Saiyan 2. It'll always be my number one. I mean, if I were to rank the forms right now, it would be Ultra Instinct number one, Golden Frieza number two, because I actually do really like Golden Frieza. I'll probably do like a separate video on talking about my favorite transformations, but just top five. Number three, Ultra Ego, and then number four would be Super Saiyan 3, and then number five would be Super Saiyan God. Now, again, like I'll do in a separate video talking about the forms, but just this video alone, we're just talking about Ultra Instinct. I love this form. It has narrative issues, yes, but again, it's like Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan wasn't talked about until the Namek arc. Like, literally nothing in the Saiyan saga ever hinted towards this greater being of 1,000 years legends. It literally comes out of nowhere in the middle of the Namek arc. And that's what Ultra Instinct is, except it had one little teaser and that was it. I feel like if what they should have done is okay. So if I were to rewrite Dragon Ball Super in a sense to try to fix this narrative issue, I would actually have UI Sign Goku get UI Sign in the Goku Black arc. Again, it's like building up to this, but it's like here's a stepping stone. You're getting close, but he just can't maintain the form because it's the first time getting it. So he fails. He can't fight Merge Zamasu. Then they have to go fuse into Vegito, and then the rest happens. Then in turn of power, he can get this form again, but then he's doing better. It's like building up to this. So the whole point is to build up to this. Excuse me. So I think what they should have done is don't have it show up in the Universe 6 arc because it would be a little too early for that, but then you can have it show up in the Zamasu arc. Like when they're in the middle of training, then we can keep talking about, how Goku could just needs to rely on his more instincts more, and then he can get a taste of it in the Goku Black arc, but then get the full taste of it in the Tournament of Power and Moro, where he really gets his full, he finally gets to be able to do it fully and properly. So I guess that's just me just I guess sucking off the Ultra Instinct, but I always will. I don't care what anyone says. It's my opinion. If you disagree with me, that's fine. You can leave a comment saying, I think this form is okay, which is fine. We all have different opinions. It's based on, saying our favorite form is based on nostalgia and build up and hype to what we grew up with, So older fans will always like Super Saiyan 2 more, while newer fans will probably be more attached to Ultra Ego and Ultra Instinct because they were newer. They got to see him unfold live, not knowing about it while they knew about Super Saiyan 2. I think, of course, they're good forms narratively. Why, Again, Ultra Instinct kind of has the same philosophy as Super Saiyan in a sense. It wasn't mentioned until that arc it specifically showed up in. And Super Saiyan 2, you kind of, it was kind of built up to the entire arc of needing to evolve Super Saiyan. But I think the form, me personally, it's okay. I think it's overrated. But again, separate video. But I would like to say thank you for watching. Please hit like and subscribe, and I will see y'all next time.